Jamie, and we are here at the Peter Wolf House with the owner Jan Watt, and that is baby Otto you hear in the background crying. He just wanted to give us some ambient noise.
Right. He comes to all of the events. He's like our mascot.
He's really well behaved though, so.
So we're gonna ask Jan some questions about what it's like to live in the Peter Wolf House.
Yeah, so Jan, I'm gonna start off, and I really want to know what made you want to not only live in a house like this, but what made you want to tackle such a big project of restoring a historical home?
I think that generally when you come into a home and you see it, you look for the wow factor.
Mm-hmm.
That you look and you think, whoa, I can live here. And I was in a house, 1846 in Mechanicsburg, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. And when I saw this, I went gaga because Ann and Tom Wolf had done such a good job at starting it, and we wanted to finish. It'll never be finished, though.
And so we're in the foyer of the house, and you told us earlier that the colors that you see in the wainscoting, that's the original paint.
The original paint, it's not reproduced. It's the original paint, and Ann and Tom Brown used razor blades to peel off centuries of paint to get down to this color. And I think the original color was much brighter, but because of chemical interaction and things like that.
I didn't realize that they actually were able to carve away layers of paint, but then keep this one.
And, well, they knew they got down to the last one, I think, but the spindles on the staircase are amazing. I mean, how, I wouldn't have had the perseverance to do that patience.
I don't know. I think you're selling yourself short. I mean, look at all the amazing things you have done.
Well, it's okay. It's for the house. It's for history. And, of course, I sort of push my husband along. He just puts up with me. So, but this is a passion and it's a dream. Mm-hmm. It truly is.
You were telling us earlier about the boards on the floor and how originally they would have big boards, but some of these boards are smaller. Why, and why was that?
Well, all the things that I had read on Facebook and on books, magazines, everything, people would show off these wide boards. And I came in here, and these are the original floorboards. And I thought, if he wanted to impress somebody, why aren't they wide? Because definitely they had the lumber at the time. But what I learned was it took a lot more money to make this type of floor and not the wide boards. Mm-hmm. So his purpose for doing it was to make the house appear to be as expensive and see, I'm successful, you want to do business with me. So I thought through the research that I did that I found the reason why they did this. He did this. It's intentional. So.
Would you have been friends with Peter Wolf, you think? Do you like who he was as a person?
He and I probably would have had some interesting conversations about certain things because we have a gentleman's room, and of course, after the women and the men would socialize, the men would leave and go into the gentleman's room, sans the women, because the women weren't capable of such heady things as business and politics. So we would have had our tete-a-tete. But,
what do you use the gentleman's room for now?
Watching TV and football and
I love that.
What gentlemen would have used it for if they had TV?
Yeah, and now ladies, right?
Yeah, and what we do too is we just there's pipe things. It's a very masculine room, and we do have very comfortable furniture in there too.
Good.
That it's for comfort.
Yeah.
And football.
I love that. That should have been our title. Comfort and football.
There we go.
So you wrote on Facebook, you don't have to own a historic home to care about it. What can people do to support preservation projects like this or others around the county?
Well, one of the reasons I encouraged myself to do the interview and to get involved, is the fact that I realize that I have less time ahead of me than I have behind me. So what can I do now that will make sure that all this wasn't in vain? Because they've already tried once to tear it down. And it would just break my heart that after all the love that we put into it's not the money, it's the love and the history that you can't replace it. And I see pictures all the time, you know, when I was doing research on the house, of things that are no longer there. And even with the house, and it just breaks my heart. So I want to get as many people as I can to come in. We have tours, we have, I can't count how many people, trying to get them in to appreciate what is their history, because I'm not even a native of York County. So
What? Where are you from?
Western PA.
Oh, okay. Well, at least it's Pennsylvania.
So, yeah, it is Pennsylvania. But you know, I've taken this on. This is my project, and if I can do something to get so this house is saved, because we're 6 feet away from Route 30.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It just made me think of a few months ago now. Someone ran into my house with
That's
their
right.
car, and we need significant repairing. It's going to be significant,
yes.
and that, I mean, that could happen here. I mean, they're right. We could hear people drive by as we speak.
Wait till you hear the chain brakes.
Oh no! Wakes you up in the middle of the night.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, people forget, especially with historic homes, the home was there before the modern road was there. So people aren't deliberately building 5 feet off the road.
Right.
You know, if you could sit back farther, you would, but.
Well, the thing is too, a lot of the main thoroughfares were indigenous people's trails. This
Right.
was.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was really Peter Wolf. I tell him all the time, it's your fault, all right? Because the thing is, he arranged for the road was originally one road over. Well, he had a tavern here in his house and then built the 5 Mile House. And what he did as supervisor of highways is have the main road here so he could get the business.
He was supervisor of highways.
Yes, and it was an appointed job with a lot of, I mean, they just didn't appoint anybody.
Right.
They had some, you know.
Some clout with it.
Oh, yes.
What didn't he do at this point?
Right.
Well, this is my point, and for him to more or less be forgotten or known what's on his tombstone. I mean, really? I mean,
What's on his tombstone?
oh,
Let's see if I can.
it's all in German, for good reason. But do you have it there?
It's it's like he had dropsy and we siphoned
Right there.
22 gallons.
His illness was dropsy, which he was drained 4 times of 22.5 gallons of water.
Do you know how they drained it, or do you?
No.
Because I did the research on that
Oh,
too,
okay.
because it wasn't bloodletting, but what they would do, since a lot of the fluid was in the abdomen and the chest, they would make holes in the abdomen and have the person lean forward, and yes, it
Oh,
wasn't,
man.
and drain this way. You couldn't lie
Right.
down, because if you did, then your heart and your lungs would be
Oh.
flooded.
See,
So-
during the end of my grandpa's life, he had congestive heart failure and had fluid buildup. And they siphoned it off in the hospital, in a more modern, better way to do it. But just to imagine them being like, you know, here, let me make a hole and lean forward.
And this is before they understood germ theory. So
Yeah,
like antibiotics
yeah.
and he died in the house, right?
Yes,
What room
in
did he
fact,
die in?
he died in what I call his house. His room, his bedroom is a small one. I know which corner.
Oh, really?
And yes, I mean, I have friends that see things that I don't. And they told me when they walked in that he said, I'm a very important person. And I said, that's Peter.
What would you have put on his tombstone?
That's very interesting. I would put down that he lived his life well. He did a lot of things for a lot of people. He was an immigrant, and a German immigrant at that, but he was successful. I think there's a Wolf gene that he just doing the research on him determined a lot of things that I did in the house, because I think, what would he have done? So.
And is Mount Wolf then? Like, it's across the county, so is that any relation?
Yeah, Governor Wolf was his 6th great-grandchild.
But why is Mount Wolf, though, named that? Because it was before the governor.
Yeah, because of the wolves.
They moved over there and then named a town after themselves.
Wow.
Yes. Why do you think Peter Wolf didn't name this area, like, I don't know, Wolfville or something?
I think it was, number one, the development hadn't reached 5 miles out, so this was really rough territory at the time, and there were a lot of settlers that really squatted before they had the Blunston grants of 1736, and that's when Penn let the space open. But he built this house when he was in his early 20s.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's it.
What have I done? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd been a visionary, really.
Oh, he was, and he was motivated. I mean, he was a tanner and a saddler in Yorktown, and it was a very lucrative job, very lucrative. And then he moved out here and he purchased land from Heinrich Bott, who was his father-in-law, and that was 1754.
Okay.
I have that, and he had a license for the tavern that I have the copy of, that was 1760, and the tavern wasn't built until 1762. Thank you. Yes. Speaking of noise,
I wish I could see a time lapse of when they first built the house, and then what it looked like, and then also his acreage, and to see it shrink too, because now this is 1.1 acres,
Yes.
right? So it went from 1,000 down to 1.1.
Mhm.
The barn used to be a part of the property, but it's not anymore.
No, not anymore. It was for sale when we bought this property, and I had people ask me, "Oh, well, why didn't you buy the barn?" Well, the fact that the barn was twice as much as the house was, and we knew we had work to do in here,
Right.
that we couldn't stretch ourselves that much.
Yeah.
So, and then of course I wanted to furnish it, and it has 14 rooms. So to furnish it correctly,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I love what you've done. I feel like I love what you've done with the place. I feel like it's a TV show, but I do. It is beautiful, and you walk in, and it smells good. Because I mean, you have the wood stove burning, and you have what's the what do you put on the wood stove?
Well, I started that when we did the Christmas open house and tours, and it's a cast iron Dutch oven. And I put cider, you can put apple juice in, but it's like whole cloves, oranges, cranberries, nutmeg,
It just smells great.
cinnamon.
Smells like Christmas.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's nice, especially when we have 3 cats and 3 dogs.
You can't tell.
Oh, but, yeah. Good.
So any other last things that Dami and I should know about Peter Wolf and this beautiful house?
He was amazing, his family was amazing, and they continue to be amazing. And anytime the family would like to come and see their roots, they're more than welcome. And, this house doesn't belong to us. It won't. It isn't. It belongs to everybody in York County. And I'd like to encourage people, we're going to have a reunion on September 14th. Of all the descendants of Peter Wolf. We have some interested people from Hawaii and Delaware that are interested in this. If you have a family member that has lived here at one time, we welcome you with open arms. And we have several organizations that will be here. We're going to have food trucks, and hopefully if My husband lets me a bounce house for the kids.
Sold.
Yeah. Motto, come home.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has
Thank
been an
you.
awesome interview, and you've opened your house to us.
Oh,
We're very
always.
appreciative of that.
It doesn't belong to us, it belongs to everybody.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks, viewers. See ya.